As you embark on this journey, the first thing you realize is that God's voice isn't always loud or dramatic. It doesn't come with lightning bolts or earth-shaking events. Instead, His voice is subtle, often blending in with your own thoughts, like a whisper in the midst of your mind. And yet, there's something profoundly different about it. It brings peace, clarity, and purpose. It's as if your own thoughts have been rearranged and aligned with something much bigger than yourself. At first, this can be confusing. You might wonder, is this really God speaking? Or is it just my mind running wild? The beauty of it is that God speaks to you in a way that is deeply personal, tailoring His message to your heart and your circumstances. It's not about hearing an audible voice from the sky. It's about recognizing His presence in your thoughts, guiding you, urging you forward. You might feel an inner nudge, a conviction that leads you to take a specific action, or maybe it's a deep sense of peace that follows a moment of confusion. It's subtle, but unmistakable. His thoughts don't conflict with who you are. They confirm your deepest calling, sometimes even challenging you to grow beyond what you thought possible. This is the beginning of your journey into a deeper relationship with God. It's a learning process, one that doesn't happen overnight. It requires patience, practice, and an openness to hear what He's saying. The more you learn to listen, the more clearly His thoughts will become. You begin to see that your thoughts, when surrendered to God, can align with His will. And in that alignment, you find clarity and direction, even in the most uncertain of times. It's a beautiful paradox. The more you listen, the less noise you hear from the world around you. Your own doubts and fears begin to fade as God's thoughts come to the forefront of your mind. As you move forward, you begin to realize that the journey of hearing God's thoughts is not just about receiving direction, but also about understanding His heart. There's a profound peace that comes when you realize that God's thoughts are always for your good, even when they challenge you to go beyond your comfort zone. Just like how Jesus spoke in parables, God's thoughts sometimes come wrapped in layers, requiring you to dig deeper, to seek understanding, and to trust His timing. You may not always understand right away, but there's a sense of trust that grows in your heart. You learn that God's ways are higher than yours, and that His thoughts transcend your limited perspective. Think about the way Jesus spoke to His disciples. Sometimes, they didn't immediately grasp His words. Yet, there was an undeniable peace in His presence, a deep certainty that what He was saying was true, even if they didn't fully comprehend it. Similarly, when God speaks to you, His voice might not always make immediate sense, but there's a peace that surpasses all understanding. That peace tells you that you can trust what He's guiding you towards. The more you lean into His thoughts, the more they shape your character. They become the compass for your decisions, the lens through which you view the world. Slowly but surely, you begin to recognize patterns in your thoughts that reflect His nature: compassion, love, patience, and wisdom. And when you act on those thoughts, you experience a deeper sense of fulfillment and joy, knowing that you are living in alignment with His will. God's thoughts, when embraced and followed, bring transformation. They mold you into someone who reflects His heart to the world, not by your own strength, but through the quiet, constant whisper of His guidance. The more you listen, the more you become who He created you to be. As you continue this journey, something becomes increasingly clear. God's thoughts aren't just about leading you to specific actions. They are also about shaping your character. There's a shift that happens within you. The more you listen, the more you understand that His voice doesn't just guide you through decisions, but also nurtures your growth. When God speaks to you through your thoughts, it's like He's planting seeds of truth and wisdom in your heart. These seeds grow slowly, but steadily, shaping your perspective on life. His thoughts start to align with your values, your desires, and your actions, transforming them in a way that you couldn't have achieved on your own. It's here that you begin to understand that God doesn't speak to you just for the moment, but for your future. His thoughts carry purpose, direction, and a sense of destiny. They are not random or coincidental, but intricately woven into the fabric of your life. Just like how God had a plan for the great figures in the Bible, He has a unique plan for you, and His thoughts are a part of guiding you towards it. This process can sometimes be uncomfortable. You may feel like you're being stretched beyond your limits, that the thoughts God places in your mind challenge your current way of thinking. But in those moments of discomfort, you realize that this is where growth happens. Every time you choose to listen to His voice, you're choosing to become more like Him. As you embrace the thoughts God gives you, you also begin to develop a deeper relationship with Him. It's not just about hearing His voice in your mind. It's about being able to recognize the consistency and purity of that voice, understanding that it always leads you toward love, truth, and life. You start to see that God's thoughts are never meant to harm you or confuse you. They are designed to bring clarity, peace, and a deeper understanding of His plan for your life. And with each step, you grow more confident in your ability to hear and trust God's voice. It's no longer a question of, is this from God? But rather a deep knowing in your spirit that His thoughts are the source of your strength, your guidance, and your purpose. As you continue to follow God's guidance through your thoughts, you begin to notice a significant change in how you approach challenges. Where once you might have relied solely on your own reasoning or the advice of others, now you find yourself turning to God's voice for direction, finding peace even in the midst of turmoil. His thoughts give you a new perspective, one that sees beyond the immediate struggles and into the bigger picture of what He is doing in your life. This shift becomes especially apparent when you face difficult situations. What once seemed like obstacles become opportunities for growth. You no longer panic or feel overwhelmed. Instead, you find yourself trusting that God has already equipped you with everything you need to overcome what lies ahead. His thoughts, now deeply embedded in your mind, guide your actions and decisions in ways that bring clarity and calm. As you grow more attuned to His voice, you also learn that His thoughts bring a sense of urgency in certain moments, prompting you to act swiftly. There are times when God's guidance feels like a call to step out in faith, to take a risk, or to go down a path that feels uncertain. And though it may feel intimidating, there's always an underlying confidence in His presence. The more you trust His thoughts, the more you realize that He is leading you into a life of purpose, not just comfort. This is when you begin to see the fruits of listening to God's thoughts. Your actions start to reflect His heart. You become more patient, more loving, and more forgiving. Your relationships begin to change because you are acting not out of selfish ambition, but out of a desire to honor God's will. You start to live in alignment with His desires for you, and this alignment brings a peace that is beyond what the world can offer. Through all this, you come to realize that God's thoughts are not just for your benefit, they are for the benefit of those around you as well. The wisdom and peace you gain from listening to His voice spill over into the lives of others. You become a vessel of His love and guidance to the people you encounter. And with each act of obedience, you see how God's plan for your life is unfolding in ways you never could have imagined. As you continue to embrace God's thoughts, you begin to realize that His guidance is not only about personal growth, but also about serving others. You start to see that the wisdom and peace He gives you are not meant to be kept to yourself, but to be shared with those around you. Whether it's through a word of encouragement, a kind gesture, or simply being present with someone in need, His thoughts lead you to become an instrument of His love. This shift in perspective deepens your understanding of God's ultimate plan for you. You begin to see that He has not only called you to personal transformation, but to the transformation of the world around you. Your thoughts, influenced by His, become a source of light and hope for others. You realize that every interaction, every opportunity to serve, is part of the greater purpose He has for you. The more you walk in tune with God's thoughts, the more you experience a sense of fulfillment. There's a growing awareness that the joy you feel when you follow His guidance isn't just a fleeting emotion, but a deep, lasting peace that comes from knowing you are aligned with His will. It's a peace that transcends understanding, a peace that allows you to navigate the most difficult of circumstances with a sense of calm assurance. You also start to notice that the thoughts God plants in your mind often align with the needs of others. His voice becomes a powerful tool for discernment, helping you to understand not only your own heart but the hearts of those around you. You become more sensitive to the struggles and pain of others, and with that sensitivity, you are able to offer help and support in ways that go beyond what you could have imagined. As this cycle of listening, learning, and serving continues, you find yourself becoming more and more like Christ. Your thoughts, actions, and words begin to reflect His nature, compassionate, wise, patient, and loving. It becomes clear that God's voice in your mind is not just a tool for personal growth, but a calling to live a life of service, bringing His love and light to the world around you. In this way, His thoughts guide you not only through your personal struggles, but also through your mission to help others. With each step of faith, you grow more confident in the path He has laid out for you, trusting that His guidance will continue to lead you toward His purpose. As you continue to follow God's thoughts, you begin to understand that His guidance is not just for the moment, but for every step of your journey. His voice becomes a constant presence in your life, always directing you toward peace, purpose, and His ultimate plan for you. The more you trust and listen to His thoughts, the more you begin to see how intricately woven they are into every aspect of your life. You notice how His guidance isn't just about the big decisions, but the small, everyday choices as well. From how you respond to challenges, to how you interact with others, to the thoughts you allow to fill your mind, everything becomes part of the tapestry of His plan for you. What once seemed like mundane moments now have a deeper significance, as his thoughts guide you even in the smallest of details. The more you yield to his voice, the more you experience transformation in your daily life. You realize that God's thoughts are continually shaping you, molding you into the person he always intended you to be. His voice empowers you to make choices that reflect his character, choices that align with love, grace, and truth. This process of transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's a continual journey, where you learn to recognize his voice more clearly and trust it more fully with each passing day. You begin to see that God's thoughts are not meant to burden you, but to liberate you, to free you from the weight of confusion, doubt, and fear. His thoughts bring clarity, and with that clarity comes peace and confidence. There are times when his thoughts challenge you, pushing you outside your comfort zone. But in those moments, you begin to realize that growth never happens without discomfort. These challenges become opportunities for you to stretch your faith, to trust God even more, and to experience his faithfulness in ways you never could have imagined. As you continue to walk in alignment with his thoughts, you begin to understand that this is the life he always intended for you, one of purpose, peace, and transformation. You are no longer just walking through life aimlessly, but with a deep sense of direction, knowing that every step you take is guided by his voice. And the more you trust and follow his thoughts, the more you reflect his heart to the world around you, becoming a beacon of light in a dark world. As you continue to trust in God's thoughts, you begin to recognize that his guidance not only shapes your actions, but also your perspective on life. The way you see the world, your relationships, your challenges, and your opportunities begins to change. You start to view everything through the lens of his wisdom, understanding that nothing in your life is random or without purpose. Every situation, every encounter, every moment holds the potential for God to work through you. This shift in perspective helps you to approach difficult situations with a newfound confidence. What once seemed like setbacks or struggles now become stepping stones in God's greater plan. You start to realize that God uses even the most challenging experiences to shape you, refine you, and draw you closer to him. His thoughts give you a deeper understanding of his love and purpose, helping you navigate life's ups and downs with peace and assurance. You also begin to see how his thoughts help you grow in discernment. With each decision, big or small, you learn to hear his voice more clearly, distinguishing it from the noise of the world. His thoughts become the foundation of your decision-making process, guiding you toward what aligns with his will and away from what does not. This discernment enables you to make choices that lead to greater peace, fulfillment, and purpose. As you grow in your relationship with God, you also develop a deeper sense of trust in his timing. The more you listen to his thoughts, the more you understand that he is never late, never too early, but always right on time. His timing is perfect, and his thoughts help you to wait with patience and faith, knowing that he is always working behind the scenes, orchestrating everything for your good. This trust in his timing becomes especially evident when you face moments of uncertainty. There will be times when you don't have all the answers, when the path ahead seems unclear. But in those moments, you learn to lean on God's thoughts. You find peace in knowing that his understanding is far greater than your own, and that even when you can't see the full picture, he does. As you continue to walk in his thoughts, you realize that the peace and clarity you gain from him are not just for you, they are meant to be shared. You begin to see how God's guidance in your life can be a source of encouragement for others. You become a reflection of his love and wisdom, offering guidance, support, and comfort to those around you. Your journey becomes not just about you, but about fulfilling his greater purpose for your life and for the lives of those you encounter. As you continue to walk in God's thoughts, you begin to realize that his guidance is not just for your own growth, but for the growth of others as well. The more you listen to his voice, the more you understand that he is calling you to be a source of light and encouragement to the people around you. Your life becomes a reflection of his love and wisdom, and you start to see how your actions, words, and decisions impact others in profound ways. God's thoughts in you are not meant to be kept hidden or private. They are meant to be shared, to inspire and uplift those you encounter. Whether it's through a simple word of encouragement, an act of kindness, or a moment of support, you begin to see how God uses you to be a vessel of his love and truth. As his thoughts guide you, they enable you to see the needs of others and respond with compassion and understanding. This realization deepens your sense of purpose. You begin to understand that God's thoughts are not just about making your own life better, but about bringing his kingdom to earth. His thoughts guide you to serve others, to help those in need, and to be a light in a world that desperately needs hope. You are no longer focused solely on your own circumstances, but on the greater mission God has for you in the world. As you walk in his thoughts, You also realize that you are not alone in this journey. God is with you every step of the way, and His thoughts continue to guide you, comfort you, and empower you to live out His purpose. Even in moments of doubt or fear, you can find peace in knowing that He is leading you. His thoughts are a constant source of strength and encouragement, helping you to stay focused on the bigger picture and trust that His plan is unfolding in your life. The more you align your thoughts with His, the more you become like Christ. You start to see the world as He sees it, with eyes of love, compassion, and grace. Your actions begin to reflect His heart, and you become an agent of change in the lives of those around you. The transformation in you doesn't just affect your own life, it ripples out, touching the lives of others, bringing them closer to God and His love. In the end, you realize that walking in God's thoughts is not just a way to navigate life, it is the way to live a life of true purpose. With every step, you become more aligned with His will, more connected to His love, and more focused on fulfilling His plan for your life and the world around you.